What's up, everybody? It's Huge Ranger here. And before we start, I need to tell you that girth work is a little bit harder than length work. Not in terms of like the gain rates or whatever. It's just that there's a lot more moving parts in terms of devices because length work is just a lot more straightforward. But with girth work, I don't know why people have such a hard time with it. And because the bottom line is that you can't just buy whatever device and put it on and expect to blow up. You have to buy the device that's best for you, for your specific situation, your specific goals or whatever. And it takes, a lot of, obviously with all forms of PE, it takes, patience and consistency and all that. But we're going to talk about devices you should not buy that I personally think suck, and then the ones that you should buy that I think are good. Things that have worked for me in the past 3 years and things that are working for the people in my PE community. Oh, and by the way, if you are just wanting to skip everything and just want to go straight into growing, just all you have to do is just click the link in the comments, and that's where all my videos on growth is. Everybody that's growing is over here, not on YouTube, right? So let's just get straight into it. First one, I'm not gonna do it in order here. First one is the Bathmate. Let's just talk about the Bathmate first. This thing doesn't have a gauge. It's overpriced in my opinion. And I think it sucks. A lot of people that have it try to justify buying, spending whatever amount of money that they have to spend on it and say, oh, it's good. It should be an S tier, an A tier. No, like, sure, this thing has some good things about it. Like, I can't think of any, but, it's nothing that any of these things at the bottom that we're going to talk about throughout the video is, not going to be able to give you. So in my opinion, I think it sucks, but that's in my opinion. If you have this, if you're planning on buying it, I would tell you don't buy it. It's too expensive. It doesn't have a gauge. Once you hit a plateau, it's going to be really hard to navigate that plateau because you're not going to know how to go up in pressure. And I've heard people say that over time, you'll learn how to gauge the pressure just by feel. But that doesn't really sound, come on, numbers are better, being able to see the number of pressure that you're using, that HG, it's just a lot more straightforward and it's a lot more beginner friendly in my opinion, right? So I'll put it at B just to keep those people that bought it happy. Put it right there. All right, next, the cable cuff, right? So this right here, I really like it. I was scared to use it. I'm not gonna lie, because when I first started doing PE, the first ever device that I bought, which was a big mistake, was a noose extender from Quick Extender Pro. Overpriced piece of shit, and but I got it before I knew anything, and I was looking at this as kind of the same thing. It's like a noose, like you cutting off circulation or whatever, but it's a lot safer compared to a noose. So this thing is safe, and it's effective, and it's extremely cheap. You can go to Home Depot and buy like 5 of these. So just in case one breaks or you lose it, you'll be fine. So I really like this one. A lot of people have made a lot of gains with this. I personally use it after my length routine and after my pumping routine as well. So it's really good for shape retention in terms of girth work, and I think it's really really awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it in S tier, really, because of the price, and how effective it is. Next device on this tier list is going to be a pump, but without a gauge, right? So if you look at this pump, and if you don't know anything about PE, uh, you know, these are basically the ones I think doctors give you, because pumping is something that doctors recommend for people that have ED. So I think this is the ones that they give them. This is like the Medicaid pump or some shit, the health insurance pump. But I don't really recommend it because it doesn't have a gauge. So once you hit a plateau, or let's just say there's a situation where you get inside of it and you get a bunch of burst capillaries, blood spots, that you did way too much pressure way too quick. How are you going to know what pressure it was that injured you? You know? And again, you can say, "Oh, I just go by feel." Like, come on, numbers are better. So, and let's say you are gaining with this, right? Because I've had people come up to me like in my PE community saying that they've used this and they've hurt themselves, and it's like they're scared to use it again. Now, I completely understand them because you don't know what pressure it was that fucked you up. So uh, I don't really support these at all. Especially like if these were cheap and then the ones with gauges were not cheap, like they were a lot more expensive, then I would understand why people would go with this option. But you can literally find these for the same price, so it makes no sense. I'll put this at. It's not the worst thing in the world. I'll put it at C tier, but you have to be really careful when you use it. All right. Um. Damn, I forgot the name. Oh no, it says it right there. Feneer, Feneer, or whatever clamp. This is basically this clamp is like this style, like these two clamps, this is like the budget version. But I guess if you're really, really into clamping, you really like the idea of clamping, this is giving you great results, then this would be a pretty good investment because it's just this like a million times better. Um, I've only heard good things about this, and I'm not endorsed by them, by the way. I don't want it to come across as like, oh, this is a good device, go click the affiliate link I have in the bio. Like, no, I'm not endorsed, I'm not affiliated with these people, but they make a really good product from what I've seen. Okay, so if you're into clamping, I would get that. And I can't put the cheap cuff in S tier without putting this one in S tier as well. Let's see. Boom. All right, let's get on to this one, which is a pump. Oh, we're not doing, I mean, I guess Bathmate's like the only water pump. You can use this for water pumping as well, and this one as well. So I don't really feel the need to just add like a separate water pump. So this is a pump with a gauge, but it's electric. So instead of manually pumping up with your hand, because it is kind of it's kind of annoying whenever you're using a manual pump. By the way, this is the manual pump at the bottom. It's annoying, especially whenever you're doing interval pumping, or if you're doing like rapid interval pumping, which is like 10 seconds on, 5 seconds off, that kind of stuff. It gets really tedious having to do it manually with your hand. It gets really tiring, makes you not want to do any girth work. It's just overall tedious. So whenever you use a electric pump that literally is just a button to go up in pressure and a button to release pressure, and some of them can actually program like your routine for you. So literally all you have to do is just get in the pump and the pump will do the work for you, which is really cool. I don't think this is one of those. The little machine that you connect that can do all the work for you is like a lot bigger and a lot more expensive. But this is like the general one that people will see whenever you look up electric pump. Um, and yeah, this one is a lot more comfortable to use. So I'll go ahead and put that S tier because it has a gauge as well, so it'll tell you how much pressure you're using, and it's just a really good option. But it is a little bit more expensive than what we're going to talk about next, which is this right here, which is the manual pump but with the gauge. This right here already by itself is way better than this right here. Okay, um, and it's cheap. You can find these anywhere, and they're pretty cheap. You can even make your own and just buy the cylinder with the hose and get a brake bleeder kit. But obviously the easiest option would just to be get it from whatever store you want, like Peak Male Physique. Again, I'm not affiliated with any of them, stuff like that. So these are pretty easily found. They're pretty cheap. They're reliable and they're safe because they tell you what pressure you're using. So let's say you're gaining girth and eventually you hit a wall, you hit a plateau, and you're not gaining any more girth, you're not getting any expansion. Um, this gauge will tell you how much pressure you're using, so you can be like, okay, well, next session I'm going to use a little bit more pressure and see if that's going to fix the problem. Compared to this device down here and this one as well, you don't have that luxury of knowing what pressure you're using. So whenever you hit a plateau or if you injure yourself, you're not going to know what to do, right? So this is also an S tier device. There's not many girth devices out in the PE world. So this was a pretty short video. So let's just recap real quick. S tier, I have, these aren't in order by the way. S tier, I have the Cable Cuff Pro, like the cheap ass one that you can get from Home Depot for like $3. The Feneer clamp, which is just this, but like this is Honda, this is Lamborghini kind of stuff. Um, this right here, the electric pump with a gauge, way more convenient, better for people that are doing interval pumping, which you should be. And then we have the manual pump with a gauge. Nothing in A tier. B tier, we have the Bathmate. The price really fucks it up, in my opinion. It's really, really overpriced. I think for the price of one of these, you can get this one and this one together, you know? And even this one. So you can get this, this, and this for the price of this. And this doesn't even have a gauge. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. And then down, the worst one is the pump with no gauge, right? So that's pretty much it. If you don't know what exact device to get, like let's say you decide to get this one, but you don't know what brand to get, I do have device recommendations in the link in the top comments. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And again, I do have a PE community where I have all these videos. You got like your introduction, your foundations to growth, how to actually grow, and a bunch of other perks that you get. You can find that at the link in the comments. All the information is already out there, but if you just want PE on like easy mode, then click the link in the comments and then start watching the videos, and that's it. That's literally all you have to do, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye.